Our reading this morning is an excerpt from Martin Luther King Jr.'s address to the American Psychological Association's annual conference in Washington, D.C. in September of 1967. To give context, the American Psychological Association had recently coined a term in the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, and the term was maladjusted. And Martin Luther King speaks to that term. There are some things in our society, in our world, to which we all must be maladjusted if we are to be people of goodwill. We must never adjust ourselves to racial discrimination. We must never adjust ourselves to religious bigotry. We must never adjust ourselves to economic conditions that take necessities from the many to give luxuries to the few. We must never adjust ourselves to the madness of militarism and the self-defeating effects of physical violence. Our world, King says, is in dire need of a new organization, the International Association for the Advancement of Creative Maladjustment, in which people refuse to normalize inequality. People who, like the prophet Amos, cry out in words that echo through centuries, "Let justice roll down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream." And through such creative maladjustment, may we be able to emerge from the bleak and desolate midnight of man's inhumanity to man, and to the bright and glittering daybreak of freedom and justice. Amen. Some things to which we must all be maladjusted. These words spoken by Martin Luther King Jr. in 1967 call upon us now more than ever to engage in creative maladjustment if we are to emerge from this bleak, desolate midnight we are in. I read King's reference to creative maladjustment as nonviolence resistance. A professor of international politics, Mark Beeson, describes nonviolence peacemaking as the act of interrupting injustice without mirroring injustice, the act of disarming evil without destroying the evildoer. Oh my, but it's tempting. The act of finding a third way that is neither fight nor flight, but the careful, arduous pursuit of reconciliation and justice. It is about a revolution of love that is big enough to set both the oppressed and the oppressor free. The Dalai Lama tells us nonviolence is compassion in action. To act without violence is to be motivated by compassion and the recognition of human rights for people other than ourselves. And Thich Nhat Hanh reminds us, if we divide reality into two camps, the violent and the nonviolent, and stand in one camp while attacking the other, the world will never have peace. There are many fine examples of nonviolent resistance today in response to ICE operations authorized by the Department of Homeland Security. Some rapid responses to ICE operations include parking lot socials, where immigrant allies set up tailgate parties with loud music in retail parking lots to signal immigrant employees, customers, and laborers to stay away. Other rapid responses include horn honking, whistle blowing, and pot banging in parking lots and neighborhoods where ICE agents are seen to alert people to stay in their homes. Similar tactics have been used outside of hotels to disturb the sleep of ICE agents. Another strategy has been to blockade parking garages where ICE vehicles are known to be parked to delay their departure and warn immigrant communities. Economic boycotts have been effective as well. An authoritarian regime requires the support of pillar organizations and institutions in the community. When the current administration issued an executive order for business and organizations to eliminate diversity, equity, and inclusion practices, the following businesses complied: Amazon, Target, Walmart, AT&T, Ford, Google, John Deere, Tractor Supply, Lowe's, Home Depot. Where's a girl supposed to go to get her lumber? Jeez. Harley Davidson. I don't have one of those. It's okay. McDonald's, Burger King, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Starbucks, Nestle, General Mills, Molson and Coors, Meta, Paramount, PBS, Smithsonian Institution, Uber, Boeing, Disney, Warner Brothers Discovery, Bank of America, Citigroup, ExxonMobil, HP, Intel, Microsoft, and Spotify. Frickin' Microsoft. Guys. The People's Union is an organization that has been promoting business blackouts since February of 2025. It's a grassroots organization founded by John Schwartz, a 57-year-old Chicago resident who is a meditation teacher and father of 3. I emphasize meditation teacher because the ability to engage inner peace amidst chaos requires a lot of practice. The organization seeks to promote corporate accountability and restore DEI programs through the economic boycott of 5 businesses in particular: Amazon, Home Depot, Starbucks, Target, and Walmart. Public and economic pressure have been somewhat successful with Spotify when they decided to stop airing ICE recruitment ads. And in March of 2025, when Avello Airlines signed a $150 million contract to provide ICE deportation flights, 40 groups organized protests, direct action, political pressure, and a nationwide boycott until Avello finally agreed to cancel their contract with ICE on the same day that Renee Good was killed. That cancellation goes into effect January 27th. In Minneapolis, businesses decided to stop providing food, housing, and transportation to ICE agents. The Hampton Inn Hotel in Hilton, the Hampton Hill Hotel, a Hilton brand hotel in Minneapolis, refused to house ICE agents and was subsequently dropped by the parent organization, Hilton Corporation. Interestingly enough, when they refused to house ICE agents, their stocks rose as a direct result. Restaurants have refused to serve ICE agents, and some transportation agencies like Hertz and Avis have temporarily or permanently stopped renting to ICE agents. One of my favorite acts of nonviolence is the Tibetan Buddhist monks' walk for peace across America as we speak. On October 26, 2025, 24 monks left Fort Worth, Texas, to arrive in Washington, D.C. on February 13th, the day before Valentine's Day. The purpose of the 2,300-mile trek is to spread messages of compassion, loving kindness, and nonviolence in a deeply divided nation. They are accompanied by a rescue dog named Aloka and are currently in North Carolina. You can follow their progress on social media or through a live map. I'm going to butcher this name, damasitaya.com. Just Google Walk for Peace, and it'll take you to the live map. With mounting tensions in Minneapolis since the death of Renee Good, March, M-A-R-C-H, Multi-Faith Anti-Racism, Change and Healing, or a nonprofit organization, has issued a national call to clergy to gather in Minneapolis January 22nd to the 23rd. The objective of the rally is to bring an end to the occupation and violence, which some are describing as a siege, and build beloved community. This clergy call to Minneapolis echoes Dr. King's call to Selma in 1965 and is no less dangerous. Clergy are being advised that Minneapolis is currently not safe for anyone. Agents are smashing windows, breaking doors, and abducting people without verifying whether they are undocumented or even immigrants. Quote, "We cannot quantify the risk of visiting our cities because it changes daily. We also recognize that if everyone stays away, more terror will come here and elsewhere. We trust you to make the decision that is the best one for you. And if you do come, we encourage you to bring a passport card or copy of your passport, birth certificate, or other proof of status." There is an Episcopal priest in New Hampshire who is stating publicly that we are entering an era of martyrdom, not unlike the Civil Rights era, and is advising anyone who is going to Minneapolis to have their affairs in order. The Unitarian Universalist Association of Ministers is offering $1,000 to clergy who lack professional expenses or cannot afford to attend. On Friday, January 23rd, March is advocating for a 24-hour nationwide economic blackout. No work, no school, no shopping. If you want to support the vulnerable families in Minneapolis who must stay home from work or school to avoid deportation, please consider donating to Minneapolis Families Mutual Aid, Families Helping Families. And you can find them by visiting givebutter.com. This grassroots organization was created by parents who patrol the schools daily, deliver groceries to families in need, and drive the neighborhood kids to school. In addition to food and transportation, the organization also provides rental assistance, legal aid, and other essentials to help keep families safe, housed, and fed. Dr. King reminds us at the center of nonviolence stands the principle of love. One day we must come to see that peace is not merely a distant goal we seek, but a means by which we arrive at that goal. Peacemaking is a revolution of love big enough to set both the oppressed and the oppressor free. And as a Unitarian Universalist, I could not be more proud of our 6 values rooted in love. May our thoughts, words, and actions be consistent with our values, because now, more than ever, it is time for us to be a king. May it be so.